Well, well, well. Stephen Jones, I believe, has arrived at the combine. And I mean, it was not a shortage of Stephen Jones absolutely running his mouth about the Dallas Cowboys. And I mean, Stephen Jones had a whole lot of things to say that I believe Cowboy fans should be interested in. I mean, some of these things it's not really a big deal, but I think other things that he said, he's taking preemptive strikes all over the place as it applies to contracts. I mean, he's taking preemptive strikes as it applies to Brandon Aubrey. He's taking preemptive strikes as it applies to George Pickens. He's even taking preemptive strikes as it applies to Demario Overshown. Man, I'm gonna tell you, I hope a lot of this is just smoke and mirrors and the Cowboys' way of trying to get things done expeditiously. But nevertheless, Stephen Jones said a lot of things Cowboy fans should be interested in. Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Let's go! Stephen Jones was showing out today. Stephen Jones was showing out. The more I think about it, I believe Stephen Jones was throwing preemptive strikes to try to get these contracts done. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. So as you come into this live stream, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And yes, we are live. And if you haven't become a channel member subscriber yet, still don't know what you're waiting on, we have a lot more content coming up this year. Now let's talk facts. Man, let me tell y'all something. Stephen Jones is showing out today. I mean, Stephen Jones was saying a lot of things nonchalantly. And I didn't take some of these things as nonchalant things. This is what we're going to be talking about today. I've been trying to find the interview in its entirety. I kind of like to hear a whole interview so I can hear the entire context of things that are being asked. But all I got today is the clips that people have been releasing online, I guess, who were there and, were privy to be able to hear some of these things. So, of course, we're going to be checking out this thing with Stephen Jones. We're going to listen to him talk about Brandon Aubrey, and then we're going to look at something they talked about Brandon Aubrey. We're going to look at what he said about Demario Overshown. It may be short, but it was fire. We're going to look at what he said about Kenny and Quentin. We're going to look at even what he said about trading in the first round pick. Once again, I think he's taking preemptive strikes and trying to let people know that the Cowboys are open for business. But I'm not going to read too much into that. Also, there's been some things said about, he said a couple of things about Christian Parker. And then, last but definitely not least, I think the cannon that he shot was George Pickens. I think the cannon that he shot was George Pickens. That's what I think. The cannon that they shot was George Pickens. Man, that is a loud preemptive strike that they are going into as it applies to this negotiation with George Pickens, which is actually already started. Stephen Jones started it today in the court of public opinion, and everybody else has been playing it also in the court of public opinion. But in the grand scheme of things, we're going to see what happens when we get behind closed doors. So, man, that's going to be the story for the day. Let's get this thing started. Let's hit the roll call. Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, Mose Logan, what up with you? What up with you? Mose Logan said, all I want for Christmas is George Pickens to be signed. Yeah. What up, Ruffin? John Henry, what's going on? Ruffin, I'm telling you, I got some more facts for people today talking this crazy stuff about George Pickens. I keep seeing it all over everywhere. Oh, George Pickens only had one good year. You don't know what a good year is then. Because I'm telling you, George Pickens been him. And I'm going to talk about it some more today. I got some more information that I'm going to share with you that I dug up. John Jones, he said, what up, G Money? You know it's a New Jack City. What's going on? Like indeed, what up? He said, so far, Steven said some good things. I feel like we're going to spend big in free agency because we have to. Yeah, I think he said some good things, but I also think he said some things that should have us a little bit, or at least with an eyebrow raised. Lynn from the 903. Big Rombowski said franchise tags roasted on an open fire. You better tell him. Rombowski, you better tell him. Man, Steven is taking some preemptive strikes. Tony the Titan, what up with you? Good to see you on the live today. Welcome to the congregation. Demetrius Noel, what's going on? Ty Howard. Brandon Cupp, he said $128 million for 4 years. $64 million guaranteed for George Pickens. Yeah, I think it's going to have to be somewhere around there. Christian Legal, I'm so ready for a new season. So we can stop all this drama. I'm ready. Hallelujah. What's going on? Salute. Good to see you here today. Barlos. This story right here to me is bigger than people are making it. This story is bigger than people are making it. The Brandon Aubrey story. It is humongous. That is a King Kong story. I'm gonna save your comment. We're gonna come back to it. What up, boy? Key Cowboys Celtics. What's going on with you? Good to see you. Checking in from Serbia. Yes, sir. Mike T. What up, Davion Wallace? What's going on? Barlos, I'm coming back to your comment. I like the 2 comments you just made. Robert Dudley, what's going on? Frank Lance, what's going on? Ahmad Huzzy, what's going on with you? Azteca, what up? Ronnie Dub. What up, Ronnie Dub? All right, let's get this thing started. We got a lot to talk about. Man, give yourselves a hand. Best chat on YouTube. And again, let's kind of go to Stephen Jones. I mean, we're going to be talking about Stephen Jones here, man. And I'm telling you, boy, Stephen Jones. I mean, you can take it however you want to, but I think he was dropping megaton bombs. I mean, he was taking preemptive strikes all over the place. Jeremy Best, what's going on? Sub-Zero, what up? Man, Stephen Jones was dropping megaton bombs. Stephen Jones was basically saying, I think in the grand scheme of things, the Cowboys are going to try to get a lot of things done. But I also take this as they're not playing. They're not playing. They want players to be signed, but I also took this as they are not playing. And some things, though, I was a little bit perturbed because I do think there are certain things that maybe Stephen Jones should not be saying, in particular as it applied to one George Pickens. I didn't think he should have been saying some of those things. You know, this is a football business. And we have to understand that for every business move the Cowboys make, the players got to make their business moves too. They have to make the best moves business-wise that are good for them. And I know people don't like that sometimes, but it is what it is. I mean, man, football is not what it used to be in the 60s. No, this is absolutely a football business. And so we have to understand that when they make their business moves, well, these players with their agents, they're making their business moves too. And so we have to respect, you know, in this game, I believe that because we're talking about this as a business, well, everybody's got to respect everybody's business. Everybody's got to respect everybody's business. So if they decide to put a franchise tag on George Pickens, they have to understand that George Pickens may very well choose to not sign that franchise tag. That's the business. I'm just going to have to accept, and a lot of us are going to have to accept what the business is. And I'm learning more and more not to get mad about the business. And we got to understand, man, these are multi-million-dollar players. And I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of one of these players like George Pickens, for example, or even Brandon Aubrey. When you are one of the best in the world at what you're doing, and people are saying stuff like a franchise tag is a lot of money, but you know doggone well that you're talented enough that it warrants guaranteed money and almost double and a half of what you're being offered on a franchise tag. Man, I'm sorry. That's that man's talent. That's God-given ability. I'm not going to tell that man what to do and what he should do and try to say that he shouldn't be paid this, that, or the other. I mean, it is what it is, man. It's a football business. It's a football business. So this is the part of it. It's the dirty underbelly. We just gotta endure through it. Because I'm telling you right now, Stephen Jones, things he was saying today, you can call it nothing if you want to. No, it wasn't nothing. It was something. Stephen Jones was throwing out preemptive strikes in all of these things and deals that they have going on. If you don't believe me, let's get to the first segment for today. Here we go. Let's get to this issue about Brandon Aubrey. The Brandon Aubrey story is the one that is, it's the most fascinating to me right now. GP is going to be even more fascinating, I'm sure. Big Mouse Dog, what up? But the Brandon Aubrey story, if you don't think this is fascinating, the Brandon Aubrey story is fascinating because Stephen Jones basically let out of the bag today. Stephen Jones let out of the bag that they've been working on the Brandon Aubrey deal since last year? What? They've been working on the Brandon Aubrey deal since last season? Man, I was saying this last year, and I guess now I'm gonna have to take a step back on what I was saying, because I was saying last year the Cowboys should have got Brandon Aubrey done last year. I was saying this. Well, now come to find out they were trying to get Brandon Aubrey done last year. And Brandon Aubrey said no. What? Brandon Aubrey. Let's check out this first clip about Brandon Aubrey. This is astounding to me. This is astounding. And let me read this super chat from Ronnie Dub, because you just hit it right on the head, Ronnie Dub. Athletes first ain't putting the athletes first. Nope. They getting money. Them boys getting money. And they're telling their clients, and I don't know, I got to respect the business in a sense, I guess, Ronnie Dub. I got to, as I've been saying, man, I got to respect the game. When players have agents, the agents, I said this last year, and I've been saying it this season, they just don't have favorite teams. Man, agents don't have favorite teams. I got to be careful if I'm an agent and I got favorite teams. Because I might try to get my player to my favorite team, and that's the team that he gives a discount to. Now, you can't have favorite teams when you're an agent. Your favorite team when you're an agent is green. Your favorite team when you're an agent is green. It's not the Dallas Cowboys. It's not the Kansas City Chiefs. It's green, as in money. And so for an agent, he's not as concerned about, yeah, man, I know you love the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to do everything to do. We can keep you there. Nah, bruh. I love money. And you need to be trying to take care of your family. So we're going to get you to the place that's going to pay you what you're worth. And it's going to pay me the most money. I'm just telling you. I got to respect the game even if I don't like it. I respect the game. I know what it is. This Brandon Aubrey thing is insanity. Listen to what Stephen Jones says about Brandon Aubrey. I was blown away.
I mean, obviously, we just finished up Javonte. He'd been in talks with Aubrey for, even before the season started. So, that's been a journey. And
a journey? What is Brandon Aubrey asking for? Or are the Cowboys trying to lowball him? Which one is it? Which one is it? It's been a journey. That's crazy work. That means that they have been trying to they're trying to meet somewhere, I guess, to see what are they willing to take.
But, we haven't been able to get to, a point where we can all agree. So,
What? A kicker? A kicker. We can't get to a point with a kicker?
gotten done, but we'd love to get him done. And then Pickens, of course, leaning toward the franchise tag. We'll finalize that here over the coming week or 10 days.
This is crazy work. I'm going to come back to this comment with Brandon Aubrey. The comment about George Pickens. This is crazy work. I want you to understand. Maybe I'm wrong. We're going to come back to the issue about George. But have they even sat down with the representation? I thought it was starting this week. And the Cowboys, if you don't think that's a preemptive strike, we're leaning towards the salary. We're leaning towards the franchise tag. You haven't even sat down, to my knowledge. Well, if the Cowboys are saying they're leaning towards leaning towards the franchise tag, what that's telling me is that they have already gotten their own preemptive strike of what George Pickens is possibly going to be asking for. That's what that sounds like to me. Why would you be leaning towards a franchise tag and you haven't even negotiated? Unless you realize you've heard something and now you're saying, okay, this is probably gonna take longer than we anticipated. So at this point, franchise tag, and then we're gonna move on. We'll table that and let's get everything else done, and then we'll circle the block and we'll come back around and get George Pickens done. But again, the Brandon Aubrey conversation. This is insane to me. Let's look at a couple of issues here. There are so many of these loose clips. You can't really get everything together like you want to. I can't even remember where everything was. But I do know that Stephen Jones, and let me see if I can pull it up. I do know Stephen Jones said something about if they can't get a deal done, with Brandon Aubrey, then what they're going to do with Brandon Aubrey is that they are going to tender Brandon Aubrey for either a second round or a first round pick, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Let me pull up the quote. Yeah, it says here, if the Cowboys can extend Aubrey, they will likely tender him a contract as a restricted free agent. I'm thinking Stephen Jones might have said this too. They could use the first or second round tender in order to guarantee themselves compensation if they choose not to match an outside offer for Aubrey's services, while the lowest tender will not give them anything back should Aubrey wind up leaving for another team. This is crazy. This is crazy. But I understand what the Cowboys are doing. Let's check out something else as we think about Brandon Aubrey. This is kind of where I'm at a loss on this. I'm really at a loss on this thing about the kickers. Because when you start looking at the kickers' contracts, kicker contracts aren't really what I call heavy-duty contracts. They're kickers, man. Let's be real. I'm not, I can't. I don't know what I'm telling you. All I'm telling you is they are kickers. Bottom line. So when you look at kickers, the highest paid kicker is Harrison Butker for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's got a 4-year deal. It ends in 2028. The value of the deal is 25.6. The average per year is 6.4. But this is the key. The guarantee is $17.75 million. So if I know how to do my NFL math, if you're getting paid $6.4 million average and your value is $25.6 million and it is a 4-year deal, let me do my NFL math. That means it's a 3-year deal and you're probably only going to see about 3 years of that money. And that's why the guarantee at signing is $17.75 million, because that's basically a 3-year deal. So if you're not working out, they can cut you and they'll save another $6 million on that deal. So this is kind of what you're looking at. And the next closest person, even though in value their deal says 24, average it says 6, but the guarantees is only 9.7. That, in essence, is actually a 2-year deal in reality, because we're going to reserve the right that after 2026, we can let you go because you won't have no more guaranteed money. So the only thing that I could figure that if they are talking about a journey, keep in mind, Brandon Aubrey is not a 24-year-old kicker. Brandon Aubrey is also an older kicker. So maybe the Cowboys are trying to get him somewhere in between this number. Maybe the Cowboys want him for a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal, but maybe they're not willing to commit to $6.4 million. Or in reality, I think it's going to require around $7 million. And I wouldn't be surprised if the other hangup is the guaranteed money. Because you see next to Butker, the highest guaranteed money is 9.7. So I believe where they're sticking is probably on the guaranteed money, because Brandon Aubrey is probably wanting somewhere around $20 million in guaranteed money. So he would probably want $7 million average per year. He probably wants $20 million guaranteed, which would equate to a 3-year deal no matter what the Cowboys do after that. I believe that's where Brandon Aubrey is. I'm just speculating. I could be totally wrong. But the fact is, the reason why I'm coming to that conclusion, because the fact is, there is no way Brandon Aubrey is taking less than Butker. There's no way. There's no way. And so the Cowboys are probably very well putting a tender on him. They're probably putting a tender on him. Real estate vet, what's going on? He said, you do know they are doing this to stir things up, right? Real estate vet. I also think it's negotiation tactics. And the Brandon Aubrey thing lets me know it. The Cowboys, it is obvious, they can't get Brandon Aubrey where they want him. They can't get Brandon Aubrey where they want him. Because to me, this is a very simple deal with Brandon Aubrey. Make him the highest paid kicker. Give him 6.6 or 6.8. Give him $7 million. Give him $20 million. Give him 18, 19, $20 million guaranteed. That lets me know that they're not willing to do that yet with Brandon Aubrey. So I don't think this is just stirring up the pot for Stephen Jones. I think these are preemptive strikes. Stephen Jones is kind of negotiating out here in the court of public opinion. And watch this. You're going to see this in every one of these statements that he makes about these players. They're all aimed at negotiating. And so for Brandon Aubrey, because think about it. George Pickens, I think, is a lot more complicated. And I'm actually going to show you why today, after doing some research on this, I would have a hard time, and this is why I say the Cowboys have an advantage with George Pickens. I think you can sell George Pickens as a $35 million a year receiver But I don't think you can sell George Pickens as a $41, $42 million a year receiver. And I think every other team out there, I could actually make the argument that he's not that receiver. But I can also make the argument, but he's a $35 to $36 million a year receiver. And I'm going to give you all the receipts on George Pickens. His is a lot more complicated if you ask me, because I know where the Cowboys is fighting about George Pickens. But as it applies to Brandon Aubrey, I just don't think this is a fight worth fighting. I don't think Brandon Aubrey is a fight worth fighting. Brandon Aubrey is the best kicker in the league. And if he's not, it can be argued he's the best kicker in the league. You can argue it. The Brandon Aubrey thing, without me knowing all of the details, I'm just telling you the simplicity of my mind. We have the best kicker in the league. I'm going to pay him like the best kicker in the league. It's not like they get paid $100 million a year. So what? I'm paying Brandon Aubrey $7 million a year with a $20 million guarantee. Okay, whoop-de-doo. This is why I'm telling y'all, as I've said before, this is the game. Jerry and them are moving different, but I still think they're still kind of struggling with moving different sometimes. I'm sorry, this is the game, man. You're just going to overpay for some players sometimes. Bottom line. And what you have to decide, you either want them or you don't. You either want them or you don't. You can either live with them or you can't live without them. You can either live with them or you can't live without them. You got to make your mind up. And if you can't live without them, you got to say, man, you know what? We got to charge it to the game. If Brandon Aubrey wants to be the highest paid kicker in the league, and we know somewhere down the line, Brandon Aubrey is going to win a game for us where we're going to probably need a 69-yard field goal, and that game may be the very game that puts us over the top, whether it be a number one seed, whether it be a playoff game, maybe it's a playoff game that gets us to the Super Bowl. Brandon Aubrey is that kind of kicker. For me, Brandon Aubrey's a no-brainer. The deals are too low for kickers to be having an argument about kicker money when I know I got the best kicker in the game. Brandon Aubrey, to me, is easy. He's the best kicker in the game. This shouldn't be a discussion if all he's asking for is to be the highest paid kicker in the game. Man, I'll set the market with Brandon Aubrey. $7 million, 4 years, $18 million guaranteed. I'll set the market with Brandon Aubrey. I don't mind doing that. Star Garden, what's going on, man? Appreciate that super chat. Star Garden said, yeah, I'm feeling like Dollar Central Steven is re-emerging. I don't like it at all. This really needs to stop. He also says, this makes me nervous about free agency now, G. I'm still confident the Cowboys are going to be very aggressive in free agency. Let me go back also. I had a couple of comments I want to read from Barlow's. He said the fact they've been trying to work out a deal with Aubrey and his camp since before the start of last season should angle it to maybe getting him tendered and we get a first or second round pick. I think that's what they're going to do. Barlow said, not like we can't get a kicker undrafted or in the later rounds with an emphasis on a soccer background because that game is based on on being precise with kicking the ball is Aubrey's background. Yeah. You know, and I think you make some excellent points. I'm still struggling, though, because we're talking about kicker money. I'm not saying that kicker money for a kicker isn't a lot. But kicker money in the grand scheme of things, I just don't think it's a lot. I'm just being real with you. I believe Brandon Aubrey has earned being the highest paid kicker in the league. If Brandon Aubrey isn't the kicker who he is, I got news for us. I don't even think we win 7 games last year or the year before. I don't. I mean, Aubrey scores. He scores points at a very high rate. I don't understand that Stephen Jones is saying that this thing has been a journey. Bro, he a kicker. He's a kicker. Stop acting like this is a George Pickens contract. Man, we can't have this. But again, I understand the Cowboys are like, okay, and if it don't work, maybe we can get us another first-round pick. But this is the same argument I have about George Pickens. This is the same argument I have in a sense. Even if you get a first-rounder, do we think they're going to go spend that first-round draft pick on a kicker? Do we really believe the Cowboys would get a first-round pick for Brandon Aubrey and then spend it on a kicker? The Cowboys get a first-round pick for Brandon Aubrey. They'll either trade that pick or they'll go and get a player with that pick. And now, I'm not tripping on that part, but here's the part that nobody's thinking about, or maybe some are. Who's replacing Brandon Aubrey? Now, understand what I'm telling you, because Barlos, you made some very great points. You don't replace Brandon Aubrey with just a regular field goal kicker. I believe Brandon Aubrey's range is around 71 to 72 yards. Where are you going to find another 71 to 72 yard kicker? Where are you going to find him? Because my question is, if you find him, why didn't anybody else find him? I just think Brandon Aubrey is a no-brainer. I just don't think these are the kinds of conversations for me. I'm like, this is too easy. I'm sorry, man. If I'm a businessman and Brandon Aubrey's deal comes across my desk, bro, I got too many bigger fish to fry than to be trying to fight with athletes first about Brandon Aubrey's contract. I mean, I would literally be saying, guys, calm down. You do know this is a kicker, right? Who's the highest paid kicker? Oh, it's Bucker. What does he make? Oh, 6.4. Okay, give Brandon Aubrey 6.9 or give him $7 million even. Let's put our cap at $7 million and let's start negotiating from 6.4. Get him, if you can get him less than 7, but better than 6.4. If you can get him for less than 20, but more than 17.75, do it. But at the end of the day, don't send me back another reply. Tell me what they want if they have a counteroffer. Tell me what they want, and after that, I'm not dealing with nothing else. If they want 7 and 20, give it to them. We got bigger fish to fry. That's where I am. I don't understand having the problem signing the best kicker in the league to being the best kicker in the league. I don't understand the problem with that. Ron Hanna, this is my thoughts exactly, bro. I'm sorry. I couldn't even fathom having a discussion about paying the best kicker in the league money when the dang on deal can't even go above $7 million a year. Now, I don't know. Maybe Brandon Aubrey's asking for $8 or $9 million a year. Now, if he's asking for that, yeah, we about to put a tender on him, and he is out of here. He is out of here quick, and he can blink his eye. I got a strange feeling that's not what he's asking for. Bass said, dang, I didn't know you could get that high of a pick for a kicker, but I get it. Now, Bass, hold on a second. This is a negotiation tactic. This could actually work two ways. You could lose Aubrey if someone offers you a first-round pick. But can I give you another alternative? What if you put Brandon Aubrey out there for a first round pick or a second round ticket, a first round tender or a second round tender, and nobody bites? Well, you could come back to Brandon Aubrey in his camp and say, nobody really wanted to give up that kind of, tender for you. You could really come back with that, at least if I'm not mistaken. So I think there's another part to this too. You can use that as a negotiation tactic. You really can. Last year, the Cowboys put Kevontae Turpin out there for a second round tender. Nobody bid on it. Nobody bid on Kevontae Turpin as a second round tender. Nobody bid on it. Now, I got a feeling that if you put a second round tender on Brandon Aubrey, you'd have a whole bunch of fish biting on it. So Brandon Aubrey, you do got to put him out there as a first round pick. You have to put him out there as a first round pick because you'll kind of strain out some of the second round people, and there'll be other people who will think twice before giving up a first round pick for Brandon Aubrey. So I think this is another one of these doggone negotiating another one of these negotiation tactics. Hector says Aubrey's contract is easy. They need to focus on Pickens. I agree. I just couldn't see myself nickel and diming over this contract. I just couldn't. Brandon Cup, again, that's why I say, bro, this is probably some kind of negotiation tactic. Brandon said nobody's giving up a first or a second round. Now, I do believe there are some teams that would give up a second rounder for Brandon Aubrey. I'm sorry, because I know I would. He's the best kicker in the league. I would give up a second round. I would give up a second rounder for Brandon Aubrey. I really would. Man, Brandon Aubrey's going to be the difference in winning some games. Cup said the last time I seen a kicker go in the first round was dude from the Raiders, and he don't have a jacket or a ring. Yeah, I tell you what though. No, I would. If I was the team, I would probably go after Aubrey for a second. Rombowski said placing a tender means they can match any offer that any other team gives. Dallas will be rewarded a first or second round pick, depending on which was placed, if they refuse to match and let him leave. Yeah. I think this is more of a tactic by the Cowboys. Because again, they did it with Turpin last year, and nobody bid on it. Austin says, I don't think Aubrey's agent is factoring in the fact that half of the season he kicks indoors, so he may not get what that higher kicker gets. That's another great point. Another great point. Bass said, apparently they've been negotiating with Aubrey since last offseason, can't come to a number. Well, for me, it's simple. He's the best kicker in the league. And if you don't want to pay him best kicker money, well, I guess you're going to have to let him go. Austin said, I wouldn't give Aubrey $20 million guaranteed. I mean, I would based on what I'm looking at right here. I mean, I don't think Butker is better than him, and he's getting 17.75. I mean, for me, it's just a no-brainer. I'd give it to him. I just don't think you disrupt your team like this. I'm paying Brandon Aubrey. I'm paying Brandon Aubrey. JTX Main said athletes first likes to reset the market. I give that to you too. Yeah. Yep, they like to reset the market after the market resets. That's why they prolong things, and in reality, they're screwing over the players. And what you're saying, JTX made, when I give us the receipts on George Pickens, they're not going to be able to reset the market. And I got another argument, because I don't even know. I'll tell you this. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he can't set the market. Seattle would be crazy if they tried to set the market with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now, Tua maybe has an argument. We'll talk about that in a moment. All right. But that's the story on Brandon Aubrey, man. That's the story on Brandon Aubrey. Let me get a couple more comments about Brandon Aubrey. Rombowski said 31 is a young for a kicker. Adam Vinatieri. Rombowski, Adam Vinatieri was not human, bro. Adam Vinatieri was not human, though. Adam Vinatieri DNA needs to be checked, bro. I don't think he was a human being. But again, the Cowboys may not want to pay him at that age, but I get your point on that, but yeah, Adam Vinatieri is a whole other conversation. But I think they're being cheap, Ron. Big Ronbowski. Ron Hanna said, man, sounds like the Cowboys are being cheap. Yeah, I think so too on that one. Especially Brandon Aubrey. I'm sorry. Brandon Aubrey has earned. He has earned being the best kicker in the league because he's been the best kicker in the league pretty much the last couple of seasons. He's the best kicker in the league, man. He's the best kicker in the league. Ronbowski said he stopped listening to Cowboy. Bass said Dak is not being traded. He'll retire Cowboy. Bass, I don't know who's talking about trading Dak Prescott. I agree with Shannon Sharp because I said this last year. Dak Prescott's contract, contrary to what some of these people say, Dak Prescott's contract is not made to get from under. It's made to be negotiated and extended. I believe he's going to retire a Cowboy because I think the Jones want him to be. I think the Joneses want him to be retired a Cowboys. Ra X fan, he says the Cowboys need to get that loose change out the couch and pay Aubrey. Yeah, man. I'm sorry, man. Aubrey's deal is too easy, man. Aubrey's deal is too easy. It's too easy. And again, you know what? Right now, I'm going to put this under the category of Stephen Jones smokescreen negotiating tactics. I don't see a scenario where the Cowboys don't extend Brandon Aubrey. I just don't see it. It doesn't make sense not to extend him. But I really would think, I really would like for the, oh boy, I forgot about that, Hector. Boy, hold on a second. Man, I forgot about that, bro. Tucker is out there. Let me see where he was. He's not even on here anymore. Man, let me tell you something. If you're talking about the guy I'm thinking about, man, they could probably get Tucker for a little bit of nothing. But I wouldn't want to play that game. I believe, Hector, the Cowboys. Boy, you ain't lying, Hector. That's a Stephen Jones special. Boy, you not lying. Boy, you not lying, boy. You not lying. What up, Brandy? Somebody said we should give him $20 million a year for 4 years. What? A year? I hope I didn't misspeak that. No, I'm giving him $20 million for 4 years. I'm definitely not giving him $20 million. I might have misspoke if it's me. No, I'd give him the $20 million for 4 years, though. I really would. I'd give him the $20 million for 4 years. Bass said that's why I'm shocked that both of both those picks for a kicker. Yeah. And it sounds like to me you're putting that out there because you're really saying you really don't want Brandon Aubrey to be gone, but you're also telling his crew or his camp, hey, man, wasn't nobody willing to do this, that, or the other. So Star Guardian said, G. Stephen won't let us have too many nice things. Boy, you crazy. Boy, you crazy. Oh, man. Frank Lawrence, he said, Jerry shameful. The Cowboys franchise made him super wealthy. What's cutting a check for tens of millions, set back a multi-billionaire? Man, I'm sorry. The Brandon Aubrey thing don't even make sense to me. Football fanatic, what's going on? Man, I don't even understand. I don't even understand the Brandon Aubrey discussion. It just don't make sense to me. He's a kicker, man. He's a kicker. Pay this man. Intelligent Savage. He said, y'all get right and smash that like button. Yes, sir. Y'all smash that like button this afternoon. All right, man. Let's get this thing rolling also. Hold on. Ryan fan, he said, all the massage parlors in Dallas would boycott Jerry Jones. Boy, you crazy. Boy. Yeah, see, for me, I just gotta roll with you don't trade away a proven commodity. Brandon Aubrey is a proven commodity. You know what you're getting He's been the best kicker in the league the last 2 seasons. Pay him like he's the best kicker in the league. Man, Brandon Aubrey has been kicking for chicken feed, man. I was actually surprised that Brandon Aubrey didn't hold out last year. I really was. I was surprised at Brandon Aubrey. I was surprised that Brandon Aubrey didn't hold out last year. I showed his contract a couple of times before. Man, look at Brandon Aubrey's contract. Look at what the best kicker over the last 2 seasons. Look at what the best kicker over the last 2 seasons has been kicking for. Look at this. You want to know why this man is trying to get a payday? Look at this man's salary, man. This man kicked for $750,000 in 23, $915,000 in 24. Oh, wait a minute. He got a workout bonus in 25. This man kicked for $1 million last year. Come on, man. Come on, man, in the voice of Boosie, man. Come on, man. This man has basically kicked for less than $3 million, man, over the last 3 seasons. Come on, man. Pay this man. Man, what we talking about a journey? Man, what about Brandon Aubrey's journey of being the best kicker in the league? And you've only made basically not even $2 million in the last 2 years. Come on, man. Come on, man. We can't, man, we can't be having these conversations. Boy, we can't be having these conversations, man. Come on. Come on, man. Y'all come off this, man. Come off this, man. Come off this and go and play. Man, go and pay Brandon Aubrey. That's all I can tell you on Brandon Aubrey, man. Go and pay Brandon Aubrey, bro. He earned it. The man earned it, man. I'm telling you, man, I'm not a fan of people. I'm not a fan of people being undersold. I'm just not a fan of it because my problem with this conversation is this. Brandon Aubrey signed a 3-year, $2.695 million deal. I'm not a fan of he outperforms the deal. He's outperformed the deal. He's kicked better than the highest paid kicker in the league. How can we be cool with this man outperforming his contract? He's outperformed the contract. And everybody's cool with that. But then when the man says he wants to get paid what he's worth, ain't nobody cool with that. Come on, man. This man is outkicked. Man, this man kicked this contract out the window a long time ago. I'm sorry, I wouldn't even say this out loud if I'm the Cowboys. It's a no-brainer. Make Brandon Aubrey the highest paid kicker in the league. Man, it's just not right, bro. It's just not right. There's something that stinks about it. Lost in translation, he said, the man kicks from the other side of the star. Hey, I'm with you. I always tell my wife he can kick from the parking lot. Brandon Aubrey can kick from the parking lot and they know it. Ron Hatter said that's pitiful to do that man like that, especially when he won us a lot of games. Y'all pay the man. Ron, I don't even think we win 7 games last year. Ross said, he said Aubrey getting free lunch at practice. Boy, Ice Cold said Aubrey probably kick a 99-yard if he had a chance for $1 million. Boy, this man has been... Bass said they'll go interview that naysayer destroying for a kicker position next. Boy, Cowboys better not do that, man. All right, we're gonna move over to the Boneyard over Sean. Boy, this conversation is crazy. This conversation is crazy to me, Intelligent Savage. We're talking about the best kicker in the league who's kicked under the worst contract. He's probably kicked under one of the worst contracts in the league. And then when it comes time to pay him, when he's outperformed the contract, we don't want to give him the contract as if he can't perform up to the contract. Man, I love you, Dallas. I love you, Jerry. But y'all got to do right by Brandon Aubrey. We don't need the Brandon Aubrey discussion. Kill this, sign this man, and let's move on to the next problem. Or let's go and solve the next problem. All right. Boy, let me tell y'all something. The game is to be told and not sold. It's the football business. Boy, this next subject, Jerry came back hard on this one too. Darren Posey. Appreciate that super chat. Darren Posey, boy, this right here. Megaton bomb, Darren Posey. Posey said, gee, for an offense that only has to get to the 50, not the 50, the 50-yard line is a huge weapon. Would be crazy not to sign this dude back. The man drives his DoorDash car to work. Darren Posey. Everybody else out there driving Lamborghinis. Man, they driving all these nice cars. Brandon Aubrey catching Ubers to and from the game. Pay this man, Brandon Aubrey. Darren Posey, pay this man. They got this man out here riding electric bicycles to work. Got this man. Come on and pay this man. Pay this man, man. Make this man the highest paid kicker. $7 million per year. $7 million per year. $20 million guaranteed. It's a 4-year deal. 3 years guaranteed. Come on, Steven and Jerry. Y'all can do better than that. Boy, y'all can do better than that on this man. Boy, y'all can do better than that on this man. All right, Titty, I'm going to come back to your comment here. I like your comment. I'm going to come back to it on George Pickens. Man, pay this man. Come on, man. All right, man. Boy. All right, let's move over. Hold on a second. Man said AJ Brown in a Toyota Corolla. So I'm not tripping on what Aubrey. But Bass, man, hold on a second. At least AJ Brown makes the choice to drive in a Toyota Corolla. If Brandon Aubrey in a Toyota Corolla, he ain't got no choice. He ain't got no choice. Come on, man. Pay Brandon. Man, pay Brandon Aubrey, man. Stop playing. Brandon Cup said he pushing a scooter. Boy, pay this man, boy. Pay this man. Big Mouse Dog. Boy, you in all pro status now. 18 years. Congratulations, Big Mouse Dog. 18 years of marriage. Boy, you all pro status now. All pro status. All right, let me read a couple more, then we gonna go to the Mario show. Brother the boy said Brandon's leg should be sponsored by NASA. Pay this man. Yes, sir. Boy, I'm with you. I'm with you. Grave nigga said Stephen Jones, a cheap multi-billionaire. He said this is a no-brainer. It's literally a cheat code. Yeah, man. Yeah. Rob, appreciate that super chat. He said Aubrey taking home plates from the food stand. Crazy. He like Ocho Cinco up in here, boy. Boy, you crazy. He taking food plates, bro. Boy, you crazy. Boy, you crazy, man. Boy, you crazy. All right, man. Cowboys, pay this man. Stop playing. Stop playing and pay this man, boy. All right, man. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Mario and Over show. Stephen Jones had another comment to make about the Mario and Over show. All right, let me see if I can pull that up. I was sending my wife some links, and I messed around and copied the link I was sending her to the link that I had for the Mario and Over show. All right, Let me find the Mario Overshown real quick. But yeah, he's talking about the Mario Overshown, man, and he said what he said about the Mario Overshown. This is another one of those preemptive strikes as it applies to a contract. Let me see here. All right, sorry about that. I got the wrong link, so I gotta go dig it up. But what he said about Overshown, boy, man, this is a preemptive strike, and this man's contract is for the end of the season. And Stephen Jones over here, man, okay, here it is right here. Check this out. So this is Stephen Jones talking about the Mario Overshown. The Mario Overshown shouldn't even be in the contract shouldn't even be in the conversation right now. And the Mario Overshown, he getting rocks thrown at him too. Check this out. Yeah, I'm with you, Bass. I'm struggling too.
I think the biggest thing is that. Availability. Certainly no one wants to play the game more than him. I can assure you of that. But obviously he needs to put together a full season. And if he does, I think it's going to be a great season because I know.
This man, DeMarion Overshown, out here catching strays. What? Man, Stephen Jones was on one today, bro. Stephen Jones was on one. Man, hey, I'm telling you right now, grave digger, Brandon Cup, Stephen Jones might be sipping on that purple passion today, bro. Stephen Jones, boy, Brandon, everybody catching it from Stephen Jones. Stephen Jones throwing the man, everybody catching strays today, man. Stephen Jones out here spraying, man. Agent Zero said, hold on. He said, man, hold on a second. But I told y'all your best ability is availability. And I told you after the season, I said, I was so glad that DeMarion Overshown, this is the first season he's actually went into the offseason healthy. He hasn't finished one healthy season with the Cowboys. Not one. Every offseason, it's an injury. So, Stephen Jones, man, Stephen Jones said, I'm not one to be played with. Let me play this thing again. Stephen Jones out here, man, boy, he's spraying today.
I think the biggest thing is that. Availability. Certainly no one wants to play the game more than him. I can assure you of that. But obviously he needs to put together a full season. And
dude, what? Boy, Stephen Jones out here he's spraying out here today. Boy, Stephen Jones is spraying out here. Everybody catching strays, man.
If he does, I think it's going to be a great season because I know how good he is and what he can do for us, and fired up about what he brings to the table. And the only question mark he has is his injury issues that he's had, getting through a full year. I think the biggest.
Stephen Jones, man, Stephen Jones spraying. Stephen Jones spraying and people catching strays, man. DeMarion Overshown said, I didn't think I was up until next season. Until the end of the season. I didn't think my name was going to come up in a contract till the end of the season. Man, hey, I'm just telling y'all right now, Stephen Jones ain't playing. He wasn't playing today. Shoot, they called Stephen Jones on a good day. He ain't playing. Roy Hatter said, Cowboy hit his feelings. Looked like he threw a couple of back before he did this interview. Shoot. Roy Hatter, he ain't playing. Brady said, I actually can agree with Steven, but he didn't have to mention agency, bro. Brandon Stevens said, I'll mention anybody I want to. Boy, Stephen Jones said today anybody can get it, boy. Shoot, Stephen Jones said bring up somebody. They'll get it too. Man, Stephen Jones, he wasn't playing today. Ben said, I get it. It's just business. He said, but dang. Ben, Stephen Jones said anybody can get it today, boy. Steven said anybody can get it today. Stark Garden said he need to be put in timeout. Sub-Zero said he ain't playing this year. Boy, he ain't playing. A lady at church told me on Sunday somebody did something at church. She said, George, get your boy. Jerry, get your boy. Steven ain't playing. Steven ain't playing. Shoot, big boss dog, boy, you ain't lying. Stephen Jones ain't nobody safe. Ain't nobody safe. Boy, he said anybody can get it today, boy. Shoot. Man, I'm DeMario and Overshown. I'm probably sitting at home eating me a sandwich and drinking me some Kool-Aid, and all of a sudden my name come up. What? But man, I'm spitting the Kool-Aid. I'm like, what? What I got to do with this? Shoot. Man, I'm telling you. So they've already put DeMario and Overshown on notice. They're already putting him on notice. This better be the best season DeMario Overshown has in his career. This better be the best year he has in his career. Because I can tell you now, he will not get no money from the Cowboys. Not big money. He will not get big money from the Cowboys if he can't stay healthy this year. And again, it's the business. Your best ability is availability, man. They're sending a message to DeMario and Overshown because I said this even at the end of the season. Everybody keeps saying we need a linebacker. I agree. I think we actually need two linebackers. Until DeMario and Overshown can show us that he can stay healthy an entire season. If you're going to go into this season depending upon DeMario and Overshown to be the starting inside linebacker on the left or the right, and you're saying you're going to hope that he stays healthy, well then, whatever you get, you deserve it. DeMario and Overshown, they really need to consider, man, we might need to bring in two super stud linebackers because, man, you just got to understand. And we looked at his weight the other day. I mean, man, I'm serious. I said this last year and people were like, no, keep him at linebacker. DeMario and Overshown was another player that I said last year, I wonder if the Cowboys would consider moving him to strong safety. I wonder, could he play strong safety? Darren Woodson played at 220. Why couldn't Overshown play at 220? He's quick, he's fast, he can hit, and it would also keep him out of those scrums around the line of scrimmage to where somebody could roll up on his leg like they did last year. I mean, I really would consider to see if DeMario and Overshown, rather than you going and get another quote-unquote nickelback to be that nickelback in Christian Parker's system, I would consider seeing if DeMario and Overshown could be that nickelback in that system. I really would. I really would, man. He can play, but I think being around the line of scrimmage is too much for him. I really do. I think it's too much for him. I'd put him back in. I would put him back. I would really consider seeing if I could put him in safety. Especially in the Christian Parker system. I really would. But again, hey, Stephen Jones, man, this dude ain't even said that. He done put him on notice. He said he wanted him to put together a full season. And I'll be honest with you, can't disagree. Bass said, like 50 Cent said in the meme, like what he said, what'd he say F me for? The hell I do. Man, hey, Steven ain't playing. Steven said everybody go get it today, man. You bring up anybody. Man, they'd have bought my name up, Steven. Shoot. Steven would have probably threatened shutting the channel down. Shoot, Steven ain't playing today, man. Steven ain't playing today. And so again, they asked about DeMario and Overshown, and that was his answer. Bazzi said he might be too big for safety. He's fast, but he's not agile enough at that size. You know, maybe it's the fact that he's taller, but Darren Woodson played at that weight. I mean, I think Overshown is a little too small to be a linebacker. I mean, 220, Man, that's kind of small to be a linebacker. I just think they should. I really would consider it. I really would, man. I would consider strong safety. Yeah, Dudley said, yeah, G, I said the same thing as well. Linebackers. Man, Dudley, they got to get two. They got to be planned for overshown that if something wants to happen. I'm serious, though. I would consider overshown. I would seriously consider seeing if he could play safety in the Christian Parker system. I really do. JTX Made said he started off as safety at Texas. Go look it up. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man, I would really consider it. Rico Jones, I think that's a good idea. You mentioned it, I mentioned it. Maurice Leofow was another one I would think about moving to safety. I mean, they are real light when you start talking about linebackers. Man, they are real light. And you're talking about guys trying to help you in run support. They're going up against running backs that are as big as they are. I'm sorry. I just think you need some bigger linebackers. J.D. Scott said, gee, Stephen Jones was out behind the barn with Jerry. One of them left hand smoke. So, Stephen ain't playing today. All right, so he was also asked another question about Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams. And they're talking about the cap hits. Talking about the cap hits for these two players. Now, I think the Cowboys, no matter what, I think the Cowboys are smart enough to understand that if you want to go to the Super Bowl, you got to have some serious left. I mean, you got to have some serious, it's got to be down there in the trenches with those defensive tackles. You have got to have good defensive tackles. You've got to have good to great defensive tackles if you're serious about a Super Bowl. So I don't think there's any way they're getting rid of Kenny Clark or Quinnen Williams, but they got some cap hits coming up. So we'll see if there's some extensions for them in the future. But this is what Stephen Jones had to say.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys are obviously guys that we've got to work with. We're going to need their room, both of them, to work through that. And then we just see when we're done thinking, hey, we think we've put together the right defense here. Then you start to think about, extending guys and who's going to be here, even past where their contract's taken.
You got.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys are obviously guys that we've got to work with. We're going to need their room, both of them, to work through that. And then we just see when we're done thinking, hey, we think we've put together the right defense here. Then you start to think about, extending guys and who's going to be here, even past where their contract's taken.
You got.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys.
Let me tell y'all something. It's a great time to be a defensive tackle in this league. It's a great time to be a defensive tackle, man. Everybody's wanting good defensive tackles. And so I don't believe the Cowboys. I'm going to tell you something crazy. And I'm just speculating. But I'll be honest with you. If the Cowboys were to give up a defensive tackle out of the 3 defensive tackles that they have, who do you think they're moving? Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, or Oso Digizua? Of those 3 defensive tackles, which one of those defensive tackles could you see Solomon Thomas able to handle stepping into their spot as the defensive tackle? I'm going to tell you, man, and I don't mind if anybody disagrees, but I'll tell you this. If I had to choose which one I was going to get rid of, tell you this much. I'm not getting rid of Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams. I'm not getting rid of those 2. I'm not getting rid of Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark. That leaves Oso Digizua, who's on a very team-friendly deal. Maybe Oso Odigizua is somebody that you consider trading. Maybe he's somebody you consider trading with a team for, because I'm just saying, I don't think you let go of Kenny Clark. And Quinnen Williams not even conversation. I just think there's no way that you do that. So I think they're going to keep all three. But if it was up to me, I'm keeping Kenny Clark. Baz said, I'll be so happy when this Kenny Clark trade rumor gets put to bed. We need those fatties in the trenches, or else we're subjecting the team to just like it was before. Yeah. I think you need to keep all three. But if I only had to keep two, there's no way I'm letting go of Kenny and Quinnen because they are just that good. Osa, while he's good, Osa is better served being beside a dominant tackle. When Osa is next to a dominant tackle or he's got a dominant defensive end, that's when Osa really comes alive. But Kenny and Quinnen, they can kind of hold their own, if you ask me, on their own. And both of them on the field at the same time, man, they are devastating. I do think Osa will eat in that 3-4 with those two on his left and his right. Or him being on the left or the right. But if it was me, if I had to get rid of one of them and I was trying to trim some money, I wouldn't get rid of Kenny. Who I'm getting rid of is Osa. That's just bottom line for me. I am getting rid of Osa Odighizuwa. And that's not a knock on him per se. I just think those two are better than him. Quinnen, there's no conversation. But even with Kenny, I think Kenny does better. He's a better individual tackle than Osa is, if that makes sense. So Stephen Jones again, man. Got to keep them tackles, man. Bottom line. Bottom line. He also had something else to say. They asked him about those first-round picks. Now, I'm going to tell you what I believe Stephen is doing right here. Everything that Stephen is doing out here right now, everything that I heard him do today in this press conference, it seemed to be well calculated. I don't think there's nothing that Stephen Jones said today to me that was not well calculated. He's putting players on notice. Brandon Aubrey, Demarion Overshown, George Pickens. He's putting them and their agents on notice. Then he's putting the league on notice. Now he's going to put the league on notice of where the Cowboys are. 5 points of the star. Welcome to the congregation. What's going on? Freddie Morales, El Chuco. Things are going. Good to see you. All right.
Here we go.
So now Stephen Jones, I mean, boy, he came prepared today. Now he's talking about these first-round picks and what he's willing to do. Check this out. Thought this was very interesting.
Always open-minded to trading, and the right guy fits, and it's the perfect fit, and we would certainly look at it and see if it worked in with what we're trying to get accomplished. It's tough to predict. We're certainly open-minded to it. Always open-minded to trading, and the right guy fits, and it's the perfect fit, and we would certainly look at it and see if it worked in with what we're trying to get accomplished. It's tough.
Stephen Jones, I see exactly what he's doing. Stephen Jones is telling the NFL, and rightfully so, we're open to trading that first-round pick, number 20. We're not open to number 12, but we're open to trading the 20th pick. He's letting people know. Now, I also want us to understand inside of this. I've been hearing this entire discussion. I've heard the discussion of Max Crosby. It don't make sense. If you're telling me the Cowboys would give up a first-round pick for Max Crosby and nothing else, I would say to you, okay, that sounds good to me. But if you're telling me they got to trade George Pickens, I'm telling you there is no way. I'm not going to get worse on offense. I have got a proven commodity in George Pickens. I am not going back to the draft, and I'm not going in free agency because that doesn't make sense. I'm not doing any of that trying to go and get another commodity so that they can prove themselves. The George Pickens trade is off the table. 100%. There's no conversation. But if I'm the Cowboys, I'm going to put the Raiders in the chokehold. If the Raiders want a first-round pick, if they want a first-round pick for Max Crosby, we'll give you a 20. But we're not giving you GP. We'll give you a 20, but we're not giving you GP. What's going on, Angel Eyes? Welcome to the congregation. Now, let me ask y'all a question. I'm sure a lot of y'all feel like I do. George Pickens, off the table. We're not trading no doggone George Pickens for Max Crosby in a first. But let me ask y'all this. But what if the Raiders were to ask the Cowboys, okay, so you won't give us GP. So how about you give us your 12th pick and we'll give you Max Crosby for a straight across trade? Tell me what you think. The number 12 pick for Max Crosby, straight across. Nothing else. Nothing else, straight across. Number 12 pick, Max Crosby. That way you get to keep everything else that you have. Tell me what you would do. But I'm telling you this as it applies to this pick that they just mentioned. Steven is doing something really smart. And they've been doing this the whole time. They're dangling that out there like a fishing hook. They've cast the fishing line. They're trying to see who will bite on coming and getting that first round pick. Because the Cowboys, the one thing they can't do, they can't pick up the phone. They cannot pick up the phone and ask the Raiders, do they want the first round pick? Whoever wants that pick has got to call the Cowboys. They've got to call the Cowboys. You want the leverage when they call you. You don't want to give them the leverage. All right, let me read some of the feedback. I just asked a question on what you trade Max Crosby straight up for that 12th pick. Freddie said, like I said, I'm Jerry, and someone calls asking for Pickens. I say, sure, but you're going to give me every... Freddie said you're going to give me your whole draft. He said every single draft pick this year and your number one next year. But Freddie, you said you're going to take him totally out of the draft. Take it or leave it. Bass said, I feel like Max Crosby off the table too, G. Pipe dream. I also believe that Trey Henderson had an injury at his age. I don't know, since Steven taking flight on anyone who's been injured. Man, I really think people got to understand something. I don't think you need Max Crosby to go. I don't think you need Max Crosby to have the type of defense that Christian Parker wants to have. You can do what you're trying to do with a Jalen Phillips. There are other players out there. I truly believe the Cowboys can do exactly what they're wanting to do with Max Crosby. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is people talking about Max Crosby. I'm not sure if Max Crosby is even on the Dallas Cowboys' mind. I think the Cowboys may have already written off the whole Max Crosby ordeal because it's obvious that the Raiders, if they do decide to trade him, which I'm not sure they're even talking about trading him. Let's see. Did I get the story on that? I can't remember if I got the story on it. But I saw a story on it earlier. I meant to pin it up so I could look at it. But Max Crosby, they're saying, this is what they're saying. You can't ever tell if this is how this is actually going. But Max Crosby has already, they're saying, ruled out the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Max Crosby is trying to get to where he wants to get. And one of those places is the Dallas Cowboys. I think one of those places is the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody keeps talking about these doggone trades. Everybody keeps talking about these trades. They're out there everywhere. Max Crosby is all over the place. There's another deal out there. The Seahawks trade for Max Crosby. The Raiders get a 2026 first-round pick, 2027 first-round pick, and somebody named Tyrese Knight. But this thing with Max Crosby, it's just going to be an absolute mess. And I'm telling you right now, let me just throw this up about Crosby. This is why I keep laughing at people who keep talking about this Max Crosby trade to the Dallas Cowboys. There is no way I would ever want the Cowboys to put themselves out here on Max Crosby, because that's exactly what you're going to have to do. This is Adam Farrell. He posted over here, Max Crosby has informed the Raiders that he does not want to be traded to the Eagles, as he wants to finish his career on a contender, per at Rich Johnson NFL. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I mean, the Eagles have been to two of the last 3 Super Bowls. I'm struggling with that one right there. But they're saying that he does not want to be with the Philadelphia Eagles. They were also having a conversation over here on the Arena Gridiron. They were talking about, if I'm the Raiders, ain't no way I'm trading for Max Crosby. I mean, there's no way I'm trading Max Crosby. This is the face of the franchise. Here's the best thing I have on defense, period. And I'm telling you right now, I seriously think if Crosby is traded, and where I believe the Cowboys are definitely going to miss out, because I think if the Raiders trade him, man, somebody's going to give the Raiders they're going to get, if they get Max Crosby, they're pushing a lot of their chips to the middle of the table. They're going to probably give the Raiders a player and a couple of picks. Man, the Cowboys is nowhere in this discussion. I just think it's a pipe dream. I do. And I don't even think the Cowboys even thinking about it. And again, I contend the Cowboys can still do well without having to get a Max Crosby. And I'm not even talking about well. I think they can do just as good. So I'm not concerned about Max Crosby, and I definitely don't think the Cowboys need to be trying to sacrifice anything for Max Crosby. I wouldn't even be in that arms race. Let somebody else have him. No, we're keeping George Pickens. But again, as it applies to that first round, Stephen Jones, he's cast out the fishing line. He's trying to see if there's anybody willing to bite. Anybody willing to bite on that whole ordeal about the first round pick. But I got a feeling the Cowboys may wind up keeping both of those picks. And I'm leaning more toward, unless you can really get some kind of great deal. Man, if I'm the Cowboys, I would probably just pick players with those 2 picks. I really would. You're going to better get some players that can change your franchise over the next 4 to 5 years. And I'm sorry, the players on defense in this draft are so good. The Cowboys can't miss unless they try to go and do something experimental. They just cannot miss. All right, let's look at another thing Stephen Jones had to say. Had something to say about Christian Parker. Okay, yeah, he talked about Christian Parker. Let me see if I can pull this up. All right, got a couple of clips on what he said about Christian Parker.
Yes! Here we go!
I can tell you now the Cowboys are excited about Christian Parker. And I'm actually excited the Cowboys are excited for Christian Parker. Because I know they're going to do everything they can do to make him successful. I truly believe this is what they're going to do. So, let me read you a couple of articles I got over here. Todd Archer. Todd Archer says, this is from Stephen Jones. And matter of fact, this may actually be in one of the things that we're going to listen to here. So let's listen to these 2 things first. This is Stephen Jones.
Talking to him, and
they're talking about
how
Christian
the rules
Parker.
work if it's, a true move up from a position coach to
Are there people that you trust in Philadelphia's organization that will give you what it is?
not really, no. But in all seriousness, no question they didn't want to lose it. I mean, that goes without saying. But they also understand when a young guy gets a unique opportunity to be the coordinator and call the plays, that they knew they weren't going to be able to stop that. I mean, the league rules, you don't necessarily ask for permission. You notify them that you're going to be talking to them, and that's how the rules work if it's a true move up from a position coach to a coordinator.
Are there people that you
Okay, he's got another comment he made about Christian Parker.
He's been under a lot of top defensive minds in this league. I think he's learned from a lot. Also like what he said. He goes, I got my own ideas too. Twists that he would add because he's respectful for chain of command in terms of executing who he's worked for, but he's also, can bring combinations of those things and bring it to the table. And then I thought he was outstanding on how him and Shotty went about hiring the support around him, the coaches around him, the assistant coaches. They were very thorough. We were very thorough, and all the interviews that we did. And I think we put an outstanding staff together. And now we got to go, get the players and their vision for the type of players that'll help him execute what he wants to do philosophically on defense.
I told you already. My theme for the Dallas Cowboys in 2026, this is the year of the defense. Their focus is going to be getting him the defense he needs. Yeah, they're going to get him the defense he needs. I'm excited about that part. Let me read some super chats. Sub-Zero said, gee, you made me think of that line in Baby Boy that Snoop said, get the heat, cuz. The Cowboys are trying their best to set up for the draft. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Yes, sir. Real estate vet, linebacker is a mentality. I give you that. I can definitely see what you're saying there. Star Guarding says, CP seems smart. I wonder if he's on that scent already about Maurice and Overshown for safety. Yeah, man. I really would be looking at trying to. The Cowboys got some things to figure out. Because when you start running that 3-4, man, I just don't think Maurice Leofau fits that. I don't think Maurice Leofau fits that. And with Overshown, I say he has to figure out a way to fit it because he's that talented. Excuse me, but as it applies to Maurice Leofau, man, he could be an odd man out on this. I just don't see him fitting into a 3-4, but we'll see. Christian Parker seems like he's going to be a great teacher, so we'll see how it goes. But again, Stephen Jones, let's hear this one more time. I like what he said about the defense there at the end. His goal is to get Christian Parker the players that he needs to be successful. I like how he's talking.
I just think he's got a great defensive mind. He's been under a lot of top defensive minds in this league. I think he's learned from a lot. Also like what he said. He goes, I got my own ideas too. Twists that he would add because he's respectful for chain of command in terms of executing who he's worked for, but he's also, can bring combinations of those things and bring it to the table. And then I thought he was outstanding on, how him and Shotty went about hiring the support around him, the coaches around him, the assistant coaches. They were very thorough. We were very thorough, and all the interviews that we did. And I think we put an outstanding staff together. And now we got to go, get the players and their vision for the type of players that'll help him execute what he wants to do philosophically on defense. I just think he's.
I like what he said. But Mose Logan got me over here laughing. Mose Logan talk about we're going to take that 12th pick and get a left. He said we're going to get a left tackle. Reality Cowboy, I'm with you. Man, sometimes you just got to say charge it to the game, Reality Cowboy. If Maurice Leofau doesn't fit what you're doing, he might have to be cut. He said, hope Steven not blowing smoke. I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I mean, I'm just thinking of all kinds of scenarios. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if I were the Cowboys, this would actually be the year that I'm loading up on players. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't even care about next year. If I were the Cowboys, the way I would get back into the second round of this year's draft, forget trading these 2 first-round picks. Trade your first-round pick from next year. Trade your first-round pick for next year. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm going all in on players this year. I want those defensive players to get a whole year with Christian Parker. In 2027, in actuality, I don't want to be adding a lot of new players. I want to be pretty settled in my whole offense and defense. And in 2027, for the most part, I'm saying all I'll need is a couple of tweaks. I'll get those tweaks in free agency, and I can get those tweaks in the draft because that would be for depth anyway. I'm going all in this season because I'm going to be ready. If I don't win it this year, I'm winning it in 2027. If I'm the Cowboys, this is the season to go all in. You don't want to be still trying to construct this thing next year. I'm going to be like the Seattle Seahawks. Going into next season, go look at what Seattle did. When Seattle came into the previous season, they were pretty much set. Got Sam Darnold, brought in DeMarcus Lawrence. The draft picks they had picked over those couple of years, they all came to fruition, and they hit the lottery. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm going all in this year. I'm going to get all of my players this year. And we are laser focused on winning the Super Bowl this year and next. Laser focused. I mean, that's what I would do. But again, I'm excited of the direction that they're going as it applies to Christian Parker. All right. And let's go to this last topic for today. It's going to be a doozy. I did this yesterday, and I'm going to do it a little bit different today.
Yes! Here we go!
So I went back and did some research on this thing about George Pickens because I started thinking about busting they're talking about who's going to set the market. Will it be Puka Nacua or will it be Jackson Smith and Jigba? Now, Jackson Smith and Jigba is actually not up for a contract, but he is up for a contract, I believe, in his own eyes because he's already gotten to the Super Bowl. He's completed his 3rd season. He was the Offensive Player of the Year. And Jackson Smith and Jigba, I believe, is saying that I probably won't be any hotter than I am right now. I mean, we saw what happened when CeeDee Lamb got 1,700 yards in 2023 and the killer monster year that he had. Man, CeeDee Lamb, and anybody will tell you, it's hard to match a year like that. So when you have that kind of year, man, you got to maximize your dollars. You want to maximize your dollars. You don't want nobody to tell you, okay, you got 1,700 one year, now come back and get us another 17 or 16.99. I mean, that's not really what you want. You want to strike while that iron is hot. They've already won the Super Bowl. The team is about to be sold. I mean, you really want to see if you can hit the lottery. And so the Cowboys, again, and I don't think GP, and this is where I think the Cowboys are going to be able to have some negotiating room with one George Pickens. I think people are looking at George Pickens the wrong way. I said this the other day. I think people are looking at Pickens the wrong way. George Pickens has been having great seasons. When you look at the quarterbacks that George Pickens has been with, he's been having great seasons despite the terrible quarterback play. This year, he got a top 3 quarterback. So that's why he played so well in 2025. But what you also can make the argument for is that GP, you don't have to pay him unless this is what they're asking for, and then it's probably going to be a whole different discussion. But I don't even think David Mulugeta would make the argument like he did for Michael Parsons. At least I say I don't think he would. I don't think his argument is as good as it applies to George Pickens setting the market. I don't think Jackson Smith and Jigba actually has an argument for getting for being the highest paid as he said he wants to be. I don't think he has that argument. And Puka Nacua, he probably has that argument. So today I decided, as we start talking about George Pickens, I want to kind of start at the top of where the top wide receivers are. And this is why I say I'm justifying where I believe the Cowboys can put one George Pickens. So when you start looking at these stats, so Justin Jefferson, if you look at what he's done over the last, 6 years, Justin Jefferson has been an absolute monster. There is no doubt about it. These numbers are video game banana bunker numbers. Justin Jefferson is just cold-blooded, man. This dude in 2020, 1,400 yards. 2021, 1,600 yards. 2022, 1,800 yards. 2023, 1,000 yards. He only had 68 receptions. I think he was hurt that year. He came back in 2024, 1,553 yards. 2025 was terrible because of J.J. McCarthy. 2024, if I'm not mistaken, was Sam Darnold. This dude has been up. Justin Jefferson's crazy. Jefferson is crazy. So in the grand scheme of things, I mean, if the Cowboys are really trying to negotiate this, you cannot justify paying George Pickens more than Justin Jefferson. You really can't justify it. You can't even justify Jackson Smith and Jigba. It all depends on how Seattle is talking, but you can't even justify Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't care if he did have 1,700 yards. Bro, Justin Jefferson is creme de la creme. Him and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase numbers are stupefying too. They both have stupefying numbers. Justin Jefferson's incredible. Bad quarterback play, and I think an injury. It's the only two things that knocked him down. So next, when you go to Jamar Chase, stupid numbers. Let me make sure I get to see. Jamar Chase. All right, hold on a second. I got the same... Copy the same link. Okay, hold on. Let me get Justin Jefferson's numbers. Justin Jefferson is video game numbers, man. Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, man, these numbers by Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are insane. At this point, I couldn't justify paying any wide receiver more than these two wide receivers. It all depends, I guess, on how they're negotiating. If it's the next man up, I guess it's the next man up. But if I'm going by pure performance, I could make an argument against Jackson Smith and Jigba. I could also make an argument against George Pickens that they cannot break the bank and reset the market over Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, because these are Jamar Chase numbers. These are dumb, man. These numbers are dumb. This dude, Jamar Chase, rookie season. I'm assuming this is his rookie season. 81 receptions, 1,455 yards. That is stupid dumb. 2022, he was 87 for 1,046. Keep in mind, Joe Burrow has actually been hurt in and out of this. Joe Burrow has been hurt. Jamar Chase, 1,216 in 2023. 2024, he was 127 for 1,700. Sorry, I couldn't find the button. It's stupefied, bro. 2025, he's 125 for 1,412. Man. Jamar Chase is stupefied. Okay, breaking news. Jerry Jones has told David Mulugeta he doesn't need to talk to him about no contract, and he will do what he wants. Jerry, you better leave Texas now. Okay, now is that real? I'm gonna check that out in just a minute. All right, so when you look at these guys' numbers, man, I mean these guys' numbers, they are absolutely incredible. They're absolutely incredible. But then when it comes to Jackson Smith and Jigba, I'll be honest with you on Jackson Smith and Jigba. He is a very, very good wide receiver. But when I start looking at his numbers, those numbers that he has put up consistently, those numbers are not those guys' numbers. Oh, okay, I got your new house. I got you. But when you look at Jackson Smith and Jigba numbers, Jackson Smith and Jigba, I'm sorry, bro. You're going to need a little bit more than this. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson have been incredible. They have been absolutely incredible. Again, man, when you start comparing these numbers side by side, I mean, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson have had stupid, dumb seasons. I'm not talking about a season. They've had stupid, dumb seasons. Man, these are stupid, dumb numbers by Justin Jefferson. This is like Madden numbers. These are Madden numbers by Justin Jefferson. If anybody's going to reset the market, it's going to be Justin Jefferson. This dude, and he might not do that with J.J. McCarthy, though. But Justin Jefferson's numbers have been incredible. Jamar Chase numbers, they've been incredible. But when you start looking at Jackson Smith and Jigba, to hold the Seattle Seahawks over the barrel for one season, we're talking about George Pickens with one season. What about Jackson Smith and Jigba? What about Jackson Smith and Jigba? Jackson Smith and Jigba ain't had but one good season. 100 receptions, 1,130 yards. I mean, that's a good season. 2025, great season. That's one season. You're trending way upward. But if I'm the Seahawks, I need to see. I'm just telling you, this is the game, though. This is the game. Jackson Smith and Jigba couldn't get that contract out of me. But if I'm Jackson Smith and Jigba's camp, I'm saying, but we got the Super Bowl. And we're not playing on $4 million going into 2026. People talking about Jackson Smith and Jigba resetting the market. I don't see it. Todd Church, welcome to the congregation. What up, Jerome Miller? All right, let me pull up CeeDee Lamb. I had him last night, but I'm doing it a little bit different today. Because I'm going to show you something about George Pickens. There is one argument that David Mulugeta can make about George Pickens that is a clear indicator that you could really make the argument, though, that GP could possibly be better than all of them had he been with Dak Prescott the last few years. But let's look at CeeDee Lamb real quick. Todd Church, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb. Now, CeeDee's got 6 years. This is CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb in 2020 was good. 2021, good. 2022, he started to emerge, 107, 1,359, and then he went video game number bonkers in 2023. Now, this becomes the scary part, though. Now, Lamb has been with Dak Prescott his entire career. Lamb gets the deal, and then unfortunately, Dak Prescott gets hurt in 2024. He plays a lot of that season with Cooper Rush, similar to Justin Jefferson, having to play some down years. I think Justin Jefferson, well, J.J. McCarthy this year. So CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Rush last year, hurt a little bit towards the end. And then this year, he was hurt again, but he still got 75 for 1,077. So, of course, CeeDee Lamb is CeeDee Lamb. We understand where he is. But, again, I'm going to show you, and let me show you Tua, and then I'm going to show you GP. Because I'm going to show you a stat that GP has that none of the rest of them have. And if I'm David Mulugeta, if I'm George Pickens' camp, I'm going to highlight this number because I'm telling you now, it's a very telling number as it applies to a wide receiver. It is a very telling number. Now, Puka Nacua. Understand Puka Nacua has only played 3 seasons. But Puka Nacua has also had some stupefied video game numbers. Puka Nacua. Rookie season, 105, 1,486 yards. Stupid good. 2024. Might have been injured or something, I believe. 79 for 990. Came back in 2025. Video game numbers. 129 receptions, 1,715 yards. But understand, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, he's got the advantage of playing with Matthew Stafford. Jamar Chase he's been playing with, I forget his name over there in Cincinnati, but he's had a pretty good quarterback most of the time. Even though he's been injured some too. All right, let me see. Jerome Miller said Ed, and he said, okay, you're talking about something else. Okay, so now let me show you George Pickens. Let me show you why I believe that George Pickens has an incredible argument. And I think his argument, I'm not telling you it justifies $41 million. But what I am telling you is George Pickens has something that none of these wide receivers that I have checked on has. George Pickens has a stat that you just can't argue with. And this is one of the reasons why I don't care what anyone says. I am not letting go of George Pickens. No way, no how. There is a stat that tells you unequivocally that the biggest, best big play receiver of all the receivers in the NFL is none other than George Pickens. Watch this. Let me show you this man's argument and why it's incredible. George Pickens has an incredible argument. 2022, 2023. Who is his quarterback? Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph. George Pickens in his rookie season. Explain to me, how do you get 52 receptions and 801 yards? How do you have 52 receptions, 801 yards? He comes back in 2023 with those bad quarterbacks. 63 receptions. Explain to me, how do you get 1,140 yards? How are you doing this, George Pickens? He comes back in 2024. He doesn't even play all of the games. And again, 59 receptions, 900 yards. George Pickens, how are you pulling this off? He comes to 2025, 93 receptions, 1,429 yards. Now, 2024, his quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. It can be argued that George Pickens, for 3 seasons, literally had the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Where do they rank? Where does Mitchell Trubisky rank? Where does Kenny Pickett rank? Where does Mason Rudolph rank? If you look at the 32 starting quarterbacks in this league, they're not even in those numbers. If you look at Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, where do those 2 quarterbacks rank? They don't even rank in the top 32. Man, we're literally talking about that this dude, George Pickens, has literally been playing with the worst quarterbacks in the league. He's been playing with the worst quarterbacks in the league. And then when he gets with the best quarterback in the league, he still doesn't eclipse 100 receptions because he's not the number 1 target. They barely even targeted him in the first 2, 3, or 4 games, and he still came back with 1,429 yards. You don't trade that wide receiver. You out of your mind. You are out of your mind to be talking about trading a man like this. And let me give you the magic number. When you look at every one of the receivers that I just mentioned, George Pickens, by one number, proves that he's the best playmaking wide receiver in the game. Let's go back to Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, 12.5, 14.9, 15.8, 14.1, 15.0, and 15.9. And even if you look at his first 4 years, let's compare apples to apples. In the first 4 years, even though we can't, because I believe that he played with better quarterbacks from 2020 to 23. If you take these 4 numbers, those numbers are incredible. Do you know George Pickens beat those numbers? George Pickens' yards per catch beat those numbers. Just keep looking at this. He beat those numbers. Let me pull up Jamar Chase. Look at Jamar Chase. 11.3. Let's go for the first 4 years. 18.0, 18 yards per catch. But when you go to 2022, 12 yards per catch. 2023, 12.2 yards per catch. 2024, 13.4 yards per catch. 2025, 11.3 yards per catch. George Pickens is the biggest play wide receiver in the game. Jackson Smith and Jigba. This is his first year. His first year at 15 yards per clip. His first year. No, he can't reset the market. He cannot reset the market. CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, 12.6, 13.9, 12.7, 13, 11.8, 14. He hasn't even hit 15 yards per catch. This pointing to a stat that you have to look at. Brad, you're missing something, brother. Nope, Brad, I'm not going to let you get away with it with all due respect. You said that's the average per catch. That is not just the average per catch. Do you know what that is also, Brad? That is George Pickens catching the ball and run after the catch included. George Pickens is a big play wide receiver. Those are yak yards. You do know that if a wide receiver catches a 5-yard pass and runs it 70 yards, That's a 75-yard pass, right? You do realize that, right? George Pickens is a yards after the catch monster. He eats up a whole lot of real estate. He's a vertical threat, he's a slant threat, and he's a yards after the catch threat because he's sneaky fast. This stat with George Pickens, it is undeniable. He is a big play wide receiver. That's what that's telling you. Yards per catch. And even if he wasn't yards after the catch, that is a humongous yards per catch, even if he wasn't running. But he's running. He's running. George Pickens is a monster. Well, I'm telling you, we don't know what we're talking about. He's a monster. 15 consistently every single season, 15 or more yards per catch. He's eating up huge amounts of real estate. Deep threat, yards after the catch, slant routes, you name it. GP is a monster. You don't trade George Pickens. I'm sorry, you don't trade a 24-year-old receiver who is putting up this production again. Might I add, who's played with worse quarterbacks than George Pickens before he got to Dallas? Who? Who's played with worse quarterbacks? Who? Mitchell Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Justin Fields, and Russell Wilson. Stop it. You don't trade this player. When you look at these numbers to the left, he has yet to hit 100 receptions. But yet his numbers, you would think he's been hitting 100. You would think he's been hitting 100 receptions. No. Look at the average per reception. And that includes yards after the catch. This man's incredible. I'm telling you now, George Pickens is incredible. You don't not pay this dude. You don't. You don't. You pay him. You pay him. But what you can do if you're the Cowboys, what you can say and what you can do, you're not quite, hey, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think in 2 to 3 years, if GP continues on this trajectory, we're actually going to probably be having the conversation that he is better than Jamar Chase. We're going to be having the conversation that he might be better or as good as Justin Jefferson. I actually think Justin Jefferson is better than Jamar Chase. And I don't say that easy. Jamar Chase is a monster. But you give this dude, man, you give GP a couple of more years with Rain Dakota Prescott. Man, we're going to be having the argument that this dude might be the best wide receiver in the game, man. We might be having the conversation, this dude's the best wide receiver in the game. Let me tell you something. This is how good you know George Pickens is. How great is CeeDee Lamb? How great is CeeDee Lamb? CeeDee Lamb is incredible. CeeDee Lamb is a top 5 wide receiver in this game. CeeDee Lamb is incredible. The Eagles, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Commanders, the Redskins, and the Vikings. Do you realize what they all said about George Pickens? They said, we will cover George Pickens with 2 players. And we're willing to take our chance with another top 5 wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. Let that sink in. What team in their right mind would put a cornerback on CeeDee Lamb one-on-one? Who? everybody. That's how dangerous GP was. That's how dangerous GP is. GP is that dangerous. He is one of the best in the game. And you could make the argument. Hey, man, he top 3. You could make the argument. I'm just telling you. He's incredible. If I'm the Cowboys, nope. You don't let GP walk. You don't let GP walk. He's incredible. Pratt, and again, I understand your argument with Alec Pierce, but you really can't make the argument with Alec Pierce. Because Alec Pierce, for whatever reason, I got a question, why is he so low on receptions? Now, without doing any kind of due diligence on Alec Pierce, your best ability is availability. I would really like to know, why is his reception so low? 41 receptions, 32 receptions, 37 receptions, 47 receptions. Yeah, his average is high. Yeah, and Alec Pierce is another big play wide receiver. We actually talked about him last year. I was one of the people that was talking about, I would love for the Cowboys to go get Alec Pierce. He's a monster. But the Colts have already said, besides the point, they're not letting him get out of town. If I'm not mistaken, they're about to franchise tag him or do whatever they're going to do. They're going to give him a big deal. I don't think they're going to give him the kind of deal that's going to set the market or anything, but he doesn't have a lot of receptions. So this tells you even about him, though. He's a big play wide receiver. Bottom line, he eats up a lot of real estate. A lot of his receptions are downfield. It's pretty obvious with Pierce, but we've already talked about him. We talked about him last year extensively. Pierce is a very, very good wide receiver too. And the Colts are saying the same thing. The Colts are basically saying, you don't trade an Alec Pierce. They're not going to do it. Okay, Willie. Will makes another great point. Will the IV, he said Pierce is not a great route runner. I would say that George Pickens is a very good route runner. I would. I'm telling you, man, George Pickens is incredible. You just don't trade this dude. It's bottom line. You just don't trade this dude. And Brad, GP had low catches because of the quarterbacks he was playing with, not because it was him. George Pickens has played with bad quarterbacks. Bad quarterbacks. And so again, he's been great. GP hasn't been good. He's been great when you look at the circumstance. Man, these numbers are video game numbers, period. These are video game numbers. And as much as I understand your argument about Alec Pierce, man, he ain't comparing this. The only thing that's been the problem with Alec Pierce has been people talking about his attitude. But other than that, man, with George Pickens has been his attitude. But I'm telling you now, GP is incredible. Man, you don't trade this dude for nothing. For nothing. But again, I believe the Cowboys are really going to have to see and sit down this week and kind of see what David Mulugeta and those guys are wanting. I think that's going to be the big thing. You just got to see what he's wanting. You got to see what he's wanting. Prod, I get your argument with Alec Pierce. We've already had a discussion about Alec Pierce, but Alec Pierce isn't available for the Dallas Cowboys. The Colts got to deal with Alec Pierce. We got to deal with George Pickens. And George Pickens, the honest to God truth, George Pickens is one of the best receivers. He's top 3. Nobody's going to tell you that Alec Pierce is a top 3 wide receiver in this game. Nobody's going to tell you that. They're going to tell you that he's a great wide receiver. They're not going to tell you he's a top 3 wide receiver. No. He's not George Pickens. Nobody's going to tell you they're going to take Alec Pierce over George Pickens. I'm giving you the cold hard facts about GP. We have seen GP play up close and personal. And man, GP is that good. Bottom line, GP is that good, and there is no denying this man. He is that good. You do not trade. Man, you don't trade this dude. You don't trade a George Pickens, period. In the story. You don't trade a George Pickens, and especially for Max Crosby. I'm not going to take away from my offense just to get Max Crosby when I can keep Max Crosby, or I can keep George Pickens, and I don't have to get Max Crosby to still be good if I'm the Dallas Cowboys. There are other edge rushers out there the Cowboys can get, and they will still be great. There are teams winning Super Bowls without Michael Parsons, without Bosa, without Max Crosby. The teams are doing it because they're putting together good and great defenses, and they're not focusing on trying to have a player like a Max Crosby as much. There's a reason why DeMarcus Lawrence went to Seattle and won a Super Bowl. All right. Stephen Jones. He was on one today. Stephen Jones was on one today, man. I'm not mad at him. I still don't understand why DeMario and Overshown had to catch some strays. I still don't understand that, but I guess somebody asked the question, so Stephen Jones threw him out. But again, Cowboys fans, still excited. Still excited about this offseason. I'm going to leave it like this with George Pickens. I'm still not buying George Pickens not getting signed early. At this point, Stephen Jones could just be using a tactic of saying, we're prepared to tag George Pickens. He said we're leaning toward tagging George Pickens. I'm not sure they're going to do that yet. I want to wait and see if they do it. Then I'll be convinced that they've done it. But until they do it, I want to see if they get the deal done in the next couple of weeks. I'm still holding out hope that they're going to get this deal done in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to put this behind you. The Brandon Aubrey deal is the deal that's the Brandon Aubrey deal is the head scratcher for me. We can't get Brandon Aubrey done? That's a head scratcher. I'm scratching my head on Brandon Aubrey, man. I really am. Cowboys got to get that Brandon Aubrey deal done. It's too easy, man. It's too easy. I think the Brandon Aubrey deal is too easy. Newhouse fam said he better tactic GP. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. I just think it's something they're throwing out there like, okay, we're prepared to do it. I'm not sure it's going to happen. I think they can get a deal done. I don't think George Pickens, I still contend, I don't think George Pickens is even thinking about Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase money. I just don't think he's thinking about that. I don't know. I'm not in his mind. But I think George knows what it's going to take to stay with the Cowboys. I believe George knows he can probably get around 35. But 41 gonna be tough. He won't get it here. I don't think he'll get 41 here. Ron Hanna said, gee, that's a head scratcher for me too. I don't understand it. I don't understand Brandon Aubrey. I don't understand the Aubrey Angel Eyes. It should be a no-brainer. And I'm laughing that they've actually been talking about this since last season. That's crazy work to me. Catherine said they've been talking about Brandon Aubrey's contract for a year, from what Steven said. I don't understand that, Catherine. He a kicker. Logan D, yeah, they need to go and sign him. Whatever they're going to do, go ahead and sign him. We don't need that nonsense. We don't need that nonsense. But again, I'm still holding out hope for George Pickens. It just sounds like to me it's like negotiating stuff because it don't seem like they've actually sat down in front of each other and talked. So that's supposed to happen this week. David Mulugeta said the goal was to start negotiating this week or at the combine. And so as it applies to Jackson Smith and Jigba, I don't think he's got the case that he probably thinks that he has to get the Justin Jefferson money, because that actually requires you to actually do it another year. And I just don't think he's going to get that money. But as it applies to Puka Nacua, 5th round pick, he's been paid chicken feed. He's well outperformed the contract. Puka Nacua is probably about to break the bank. It's just a matter of when. But I don't know if his contract so much affects George Pickens in the grand scheme of things, but we'll see. Mike T said Jerry's back to becoming the gambler part 2. I think the GP deal is already done. I hope so. Baz said 40 million. Yeah, he's stunting on me. He trying to get gangster on me. He like, no. Yeah. Pride, you said 28 to 32. I say 35. I think that's where they're going to settle. I think it's going to be 34 or 35. Yep, I think it'll be 34 or 35. 33 at the minimum. I think it's going to be 35. CeeDee Lamb has already given the okay. He said George Pickens can make more than him. He's not concerned about it. He wants to win the Super Bowl. GP ain't pocket watching. I think it's going to be 34, 35. Newhouse fam said, check, y'all gonna get me, y'all can get me mad. Y'all can get mad at me, but 41 million? No, fam, not my pocketbook. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Baz said GP looked at Jerry and said the number starts at 30 million as he chewed his gum vigorously with his side. Yeah, man. Yeah, Brandon, yeah, 41 gonna be crazy work. Now, had he got 2,000 yards this season, we might be able to have a conversation, but yeah, it's crazy work. Richard said, I think Dave is going to get in Pickens' head because he wants his payout. I'm going to tell you, though, I'll tell you this much. Dak Prescott is a part of the equation. CeeDee Lamb's a part of the equation. They're going to be in George Pickens' ear continuously. Thankfully, you know, it's not like we're having to recruit him. They're going to stay in his ear, too, and I think they're going to... I think he's going to be at 34, 35. I do. Ren Zanguini, he said 35. I think it's going to be 35. I do. I think it's going to be 35. That's not too much above CeeDee Lamb. And the Cowboys can turn right back around and give CeeDee Lamb a raise next year. I think it's going to be 35. Brad, I think it's going to be 35. I think it'll be between 65 and 70 million guaranteed. And I think it'll be a 4-year deal. I think it'll be a 4-year deal. Because GP is only 24 years of age. So the Cowboys will want the option of trying to extend him maybe another couple of years even after that if everything's still going good at 27 years of age. So yeah, I think that's what they're going to do. Because they got a lot of fish to fry. JCT Slice, I didn't see your comment. They got a lot of fish to fry, man. Because the Cowboys got to start looking towards this defense. We can't stay wrapped up in George Pickens and signing a deal. We can't stay wrapped up in that. We need to put him and Brandon Aubrey behind us. I mean, we got some other things to take care of. And defense in particular, we got to start working on that. Ice Wild said GP won't let money blow his head up. I don't think so either. That's why I don't think he's going to go for 41. I don't. I think 35 is going to be the number. I think it's going to be 33 to 35, probably 35, 65 to 75. I mean, 65 to 70 million dollars guaranteed. That's what I think. Yep. No doubt about it. I don't think he's going for that big 41. I don't think he's going for that. JCT said, I said that we could be special if the Jones stopped with the foolishness because we still have 4. And you know, at the end of the day, I don't think it's a lot of... I think this might be a little bit of posturing going into a negotiation. I think Stephen Jones full well knows. Man, it's probably going to be around a $34, $35 million deal. I think they already know it. I do. But I still say the one for me is Brandon Aubrey. I wouldn't even be... Man, that would be too simple for me. Man, make the dude the highest paid kicker. What is it, $7 million? I don't care. $7 million. Make it a $20 million guaranteed deal. 3 years. Say it's 4. It's really 3. And then we go from there. That's kind of where I am with Brandon Aubrey. What up, 555 Kalex? Bad said, but we know that we got to separate ways. We got our separate ways. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. We will be back tomorrow. I'm sure there will be more Cowboys news. I'm telling you what I hope that news is. I'm hoping the news is tomorrow that the Cowboys either signed Brandon Aubrey or breaking news. The Cowboys are close to signing George Pickens for around $34 to $35 million. That's what I'm hoping for tomorrow. Get these deals done. We can move on to Christian Parker's defense and get ready for a Super Bowl run. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Till the next time, DC4L, God bless. Let's talk Cowboys where we talk facts. Peace.